yes, it's a complex relationship, but this government is not being truthful. The fact that there is a massive border confrontation and that China is in places it shouldn't be is implicit in what the MEA or the External Affairs Minister says. It's never publicly admitted. As far as the public pronouncements of the BJP are concerned, the Prime Minister nonetheless has said that no one has entered our territory, and therefore that's something the Chinese Foreign Affairs Ministry is quoting back at us, that you aren't being truthful, you aren't being honest. The problem is much bigger. You know the problem is bigger, but because you want to convey this sense of nationalism and masculinity, therefore you don't want to accept that there is a problem, and that's what the Congress is opposing.
My God, Rahul Kanwal, since when have you started asking questions which are so lengthy? You know, you need to give me some time to respond to that rather verbose question of yours. It seemed more like, you know, you were seconding what the Congress is saying.
I'm asking you a question. Okay, I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
Let's get to it.
Yes, so now don't interject me. You know, you asked me such a lengthy, long-worded question. You should have the patience to now listen to what I have to say. Thank you. Point number one. I think this government has not beaten around the bush. It has called a spade, and I think the External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, in clearly no uncertain terms, without any whataboutery, any filibustering of any kind whatsoever, has clearly said, CHINA, why are you blaming the Modi government in 2023 for a bridge that was illegally constructed by the Chinese over Pangong Lake way back in 1962? Point number one. Point number two, you know, this whole narrative that, oh, the EAM said China is a much bigger economy, so we need to be cautious. No. What he said was, and which, you know, is a thing that he's repeated in the last couple of years. He said this in 2021 also at a conclave. In 1987, Rahul, the Chinese and Indian economies were exactly equal in terms of size, in terms of nominal GDP. In fact, in 1987, we were slightly ahead of China in terms of per capita GDP. But since 1988, when Rajiv Gandhi made that visit to China, till 2013, my simple question is, China grew at 10% compounded. What happened to India? For the longest time, between 1988 and 2013, it is the Congress regime which has ruled this country, so they have a lot of questions that need to be answered from their end, rather than indulging in a shoot and scoot politics. And I'll just tell you one last thing. This whole thing about trade deficit comes up. Oh, look, $73 billion is the trade deficit between India and China under the Modi government, and they say that, you know, we are reducing our dependence on Chinese imports. Please look at numbers in their context. When Atal Bihari Vajpayee remitted office and the Congress took over in 2004, our trade deficit with China was $1.4 billion, and these numbers are out in the public domain. I'm not doffing them off my hat.
Okay.
And from $1.4 billion, when the Modi government took over from the Congress-led UPA in 2014, the number had skyrocketed to $36 billion. So in the 10 years of Congress-led UPA, the trade deficit of India with China increased by 3,414.
And the fact also is that the trend continues. Sanju Verma, but the trend continues. As the data on our screen suggests, the trade deficit, even on your watch, yes, percentage.
In the trade deficit.